I used to think I understood cars. Then I went to Brazil and discovered that what I knew was mechanics, but what they practice is something closer to alchemy. My journey began in the favelas of Rio de Janeiro, where I met Miguel, a former professional soccer player whose career ended with a shattered knee and a broken spirit. The depression that followed cost him his marriage, his money, and nearly his will to live. He was our protagonist, our broken hero, searching for redemption. And then there was Isabella, the beautiful mechanic who ran her father's auto shop after he passed away. She was the heart of the community, the woman who could fix anything: engines, relationships, broken dreams. She saw Miguel sitting outside her shop day after day, staring into nothingness, and she decided to intervene. But she didn't offer sympathy or advice. She offered him a challenge. In the back of her shop sat the most Brazilian of all cars, a 1987 Volkswagen Beetle, or, as they call it here, the Fusca. It was rusted, missing its engine, with seats eaten by time and neglect. This was my father's first car, Isabella told Miguel. The day he brought it home, he told my mother it would be the car that carried our family's dreams. It carried us to the hospital when I was born, to the beach on Sundays, to my graduation. Then he got sick, and the car sat here, waiting. Just like you're waiting. She handed Miguel a set of keys that didn't fit any of the locks. My father always said the right key finds the right lock when you're ready to start the journey. You help me restore this car, or it continues to rot. Your choice. Meanwhile, across town, there was Eduardo, the wealthy real estate developer who wanted to bulldoze Isabella's shop to build luxury condos. He was our antagonist, the representation of progress without soul. He offered Isabella 10 times what the property was worth, but she refused. This isn't just a shop, she told him. This is where broken things come to be made whole again, Eduardo laughed. Sentiment doesn't pay bills, sweetheart. What none of them knew was that this particular Fusca held a secret that would connect all their stories in ways nobody could have imagined. As Miguel reluctantly started cleaning the rust from the car's body, he discovered something tucked behind the dashboard, a faded photograph of a young couple standing in front of the very same car, with a baby in their arms. The woman was Isabella's mother. The man wasn't her father. The discovery of the photograph opened a mystery that would transform all their lives. Miguel showed it to Isabella, expecting confusion or anger. Instead, she smiled sadly. I wondered when you'd find that, she said. That's my biological father. The man who raised me was the love of my mother's life, but not my biological father. Not because of therapy or medication, but because of purpose. Each bolt he tightened, each wire he connected, was another piece of himself being put back together. Isabella taught him not just about cars, but about Brazilian culture, how the Fusca became more than a vehicle here. It became a symbol of resilience in a country that knows something about overcoming adversity. The old men who hung out at the shop started showing up with tools. The mothers brought food. The local kids watched Miguel work and asked questions about cars. The Fusca restoration became a neighborhood project. Then came the breakthrough that would change everything. While cleaning the engine compartment, Miguel found something metal lodged deep in the frame. The night before the car festival, something miraculous happened. After weeks of work, the Fusca's engine turned over for the first time in 15 years. The sound wasn't just mechanical, it was the sound of resurrection. Miguel sat behind the wheel, tears streaming down his face as the little car vibrated with life. Isabella stood beside him, her hand on his shoulder. "You did it," she whispered. "You brought it back to life." "We did it," he corrected. The next day at the festival, the restored Fusca drew crowds. But it wasn't the car's appearance that captivated people, it was the story. Miguel and Isabella found themselves surrounded by strangers wanting to hear about the restoration, about the photograph, about the mysterious key. That's when Eduardo approached them, but not with the aggression they expected. He looked different, softer. "My father had a Fusca," he said quietly, staring at the car. "He was a mechanic, too. Came here from Portugal with nothing but a toolbox and that car. He always said it was his first home in Brazil." He looked at Isabella. "The safety deposit box? I know where it is. The bank moved locations before closing. The boxes were transferred to a new building. What followed was a journey that would heal wounds decades old." The safety deposit box contained letters between Isabella's mother and her biological father, the German engineer. He hadn't abandoned them. He'd been forced to return to Germany when the factory project ended, and he'd spent years trying to find them again. The letters were filled with love, regret, and hope. But more importantly, the box contained something else. The original blueprints for a special edition Fusca that was never produced, along with stock certificates for Volkswagen Brazil. Isabella's biological father had been part of the team that fought to keep producing the Beetle in Brazil when Germany wanted to stop. He believed the car represented something essential about the Brazilian spirit, the ability to find joy in simplicity, to persevere against all odds. Eduardo, moved by the story, withdrew his offer to buy Isabella's shop. Instead, he invested in turning it into a community automotive center where troubled youth could learn mechanical skills while restoring classic cars. Miguel found not just healing, but a new career teaching others what Isabella had taught him. And the Fusca? It became more than a car. It became a symbol of how the most unlikely things can connect us, heal us, and remind us of who we're meant to be. As I left Brazil, I understood why this car refused to die here. In a world obsessed with the new and shiny, the Fusca represents something timeless. The truth that what's broken can be made whole again, that our past doesn't have to define our future, and that sometimes the most powerful transformations begin with something as simple as turning a key. Next week, we travel to Japan, where a vintage Toyota pickup holds the key to healing a family torn between tradition and modernity. But until then, I want to ask you, what object in your life holds the power to connect you to your past while pointing toward your future? What seemingly ordinary thing might actually be the key to your own transformation? Share your stories in the comments, because as Brazil taught me, every engine has a story. And every story has the power to start another heart. Even your own.